This week on the Autocar Show, we bring you an exclusive first drive of Skoda's all-new Superb that's coming soon to India. We get down and dirty with Ducati Scrambler. The stars of Mercedes' Indian past hit the roads in Mumbai. And Hormuz has some confidential information just for you.
Welcome to the Autocar Show from a not-so-sunny London. And with us today on the show, Skoda's all-new Superb. Now the Superb, the current car, has become something of a benchmark. Tremendous value at around rupees 20 lakhs. We said last time that it gave you the experience of a 40 lakh car. Now this new car is based on Volkswagen's really clever MQB platform. But is it as nice to drive? Is it as spacious on the inside? Is it as luxurious? Well, let's find out. Volkswagen's modular MQB platform that the new Superb is built on is an incredibly adaptive matrix of mechanical bits, designed to accept all manner of front-wheel drive body styles from hatchbacks to sedans and SUV. It uses plenty of common components, which both lower the cost and complexity. The new Superb is also much better looking than its predecessor. It blends near perfect proportions with bold details. Now what Skoda's chief designer Joseph Kaban wanted to do was give this car, the new Superb, plenty of sophistication, and it's all here. Look at the headlight, it's inspired by Czech crystal. You get the new Skoda grille, it looks really amazing. There's plenty of sharp cut lines. Just take a look at this bonnet line here, nice fold, a nice even roof line, and a really raked rear windscreen for that fastback look. Tremendous. And of course, the length of the car and the size, it really helps this car stand out. And another bit that I really love is the sharp cut tail light. Doesn't it look super? Indian car buyers are also likely to fall head over heels for the unbelievably spacious interior. The long rear doors open wide, and dropping onto the rear seat comes so naturally you just don't want to get out. Now the Superb for Indian customers is all about the back seat, or primarily about the back seat, and here it doesn't disappoint at all. Massive legroom, almost as good as an S-Class. Clever little touches. You have your vent, you have your pocket here with your 12-volt adapter. But the best bit, of course, is this big seat. It's really large, nice long squab, so you have plenty of support for the thighs, a nice backrest, super elbow rest on both sides, plenty of headroom, so you couldn't really ask for more. Probably the best back seat in its class. The design of the dashboard isn't all that special, however, and it's nearly identical to the Octavia, already on sale here. Now, fit and finish on the new Superb is really good. It's really finely detailed. The plastic quality is excellent. You get this nice piano black finish, and the little chrome touches really do add a bit to the cabin. But what's missing is that real feeling of luxury we had in the earlier car, especially the car that came to India. Nice fat sections of chrome, plenty of wood, and maybe a slightly lighter color with a bit more leather. Indian buyers will also get a choice of the more upmarket Laurent and Clement luxury version that should come with nicer detailing. Practicality, however, is something all Skodas come with. Of course, as with many Skodas, you have this ginormous boot which you can fit probably half of China in, and plenty of clever little touches. Now this thing here, that's a torch you can pull out. There's an LED torch in the front. Pretty smart. There are all sorts of hooks here to keep your luggage fastened. There's a small luggage holder here, so things won't be flapping around. And there's all sorts of nets and hooks where you can, use this large boot in an efficient way. And of course it's a Superb, so you've got to have an umbrella in each door. Pretty smart. Now the Superb isn't exactly the car you buy to get your dose of driving thrills. Still, it's remarkably stable and allows me to carry a fair bit of speed into corners. With the adjustable dampers and the car in sport, the new Superb feels pretty planted and nice to drive. It isn't a car you'll really enjoy driving fast, but get a nice road and it will pretty much stick to it. The nice thing is the faster you go, the better it feels. And you don't really feel the size of the car. Until now, I've been surfing the huge wave of torque you normally get after 2000 RPM. But as I hit open roads, I allow the Superb to use more of that 187 bhp. Now the new generation 2-litre diesel in the Superb has around 190 horsepower. And in this car, it's a big improvement. It's lighter, it's smoother, and it's more responsive. So you really do enjoy driving this diesel. What I do miss on this car are the paddle shifts. Would have made it much nicer. The other thing that gets my attention right away is the ride of the car. The new Superb is the first to get adjustable dampers, and the good news is that Skoda is thinking of offering it on the Indian car as well. The entry luxury game has moved on a fair bit since Skoda launched the Superb. Luxury cars that started at 25 lakhs have now moved on to well above 30. And the new Superb is expected to breach the 30 lakh barrier too, especially the well-equipped Laurent and Clement version. Skoda's new Superb is incredibly attractive from the outside. It's much larger on the inside, it's more comfortable to sit in, and there are plenty of features which customers in India will really love. Well, there are a couple of areas where this new car isn't as good as its predecessor. It isn't as luxuriously appointed on the inside, it doesn't really drive as well, and that solid feeling the current Superb has, well, it's lacking on this car. But when Skoda launched the new Superb in India at approximately 30 lakhs sometime early next year, we still think there'll be a huge queue of people waiting for it. It really is that good.
Splendidly turned out, decked for the occasion, some in their 80s, some in their 60s and some younger, but all ready to roll. History came alive in Mumbai last week, all thanks to the Classic Car Rally, which gave owners of 63 of the oldest Mercedes motors in the country a chance to show off their precious beauties. From 170V roadsters and cabriolets to pontons, pagodas, 190 SLs, all the S-classes ever made, the morning welcomed a whole bunch of pristinely maintained classics.
It's not really a surprise. I think we've been in India for decades, so of course you would assume that there would be some old and vintage cars around, but I'm still surprised at the quality, and I'm also very much surprised about the quantity of the cars that we see today.
For once, the age didn't matter. In fact, it was appreciated.
You feel scared driving a latest model than driving this one.
Very easy to maintain. These machines are made to last, you know.
It's got an independent suspension and it's got spring seats. So if you truly ask me, it is even more comfortable than a newer Merc.
The pleasure that you get in an old car, the solidity, the ride, the comfort and all, that is lacking in the new cars, sorry to say.
What drew a lot of attention was this perfect replica of the original patent wagon, the first car ever made by Mercedes.
Yeah, it's got a single cylinder. It uses a very different fuel as compared to today's modern cars, which are all electronic, computer driven. This is a very basic single cylinder engine. The brakes are also controlled by the belt, so it's very primitive.
When it was time for these beauties to strut their stuff, Mumbai's traffic police did a stellar job of managing the city's unruly traffic. The cars turned onlookers' heads at every corner of the 30-odd kilometer drive. As they drove past the many Mumbai landmarks, one piece of Mercedes heritage after another, one could see the evolution of the brand. A history lesson like no other. So that was a Sunday well spent. Over 60 classic beauties from the Mercedes stable, and they put a smile on everyone's faces as they made their way through the heart of the city.
In our hunt for perfection, motorcycles have turned into specialist tools. If you like cornering, you need a sports bike. For daily use, here is a naked. For a holiday to go out with your girlfriend, you need a cruiser. And if you want to wander off into the unexplored bits, you'll need an adventure bike. Now these specialists are getting easier to ride and a lot more versatile, but they are still pretty intimidating and a pain in the you know what, especially when you take them out of their comfort zone. Which is why manufacturers have realized that it's important to have motorcycles that are easier to ride, more fun and a lot less intimidating. And in this space, one motorcycle has really shaken things up. Yeah, it is Ducati Scrambler, a fascinating mix of modern and retro, of being useful and fun. And we are going to tell you what makes it hot and not. Collectively, Planet Earth has agreed that the Ducati Scrambler is gorgeous. It's retro, clearly, but vitally modern too. So if you disagree, head back to Mars or Venus or wherever. But there are other reasons as well that make this bike incredibly exciting. Now this is a fairly common sight on Indian roads, the KTM 390 Duke, and it's considered as a small sports bike, right? And well, over here we have the Scrambler to compare the size. Now when you think of an 800cc motorcycle, you think of it as a hulking, big, heavy thing, but here you go. The tank on the Scrambler sits lower, the rider's seat is lower, and you have an optional seat that drops the seat height to 770mm. It's a flat seat, so good for the pillion as well, and overall it just feels compact and tight, and that just makes it so beautiful. So even for the daily commute to work, the Scrambler will be a willing companion. With those wide and upright handlebars, you just need a light nudge to turn. And it can turn around in tight areas as well. Now this all-rounder proved to be quite at home in the city, can wriggle through traffic, feels really light on its feet. And actually it feels quite light, 186 kilos. It doesn't feel that much, more like 160 kgs from the saddle, and that makes a big difference as well when you hit a set of twisties. I know, this is a laid-back retro machine, not for corner carving, but this motorcycle does have quite a bit of Ducati in it. Corner after corner, the Scrambler surprised with its composure and willingness. Yes, the rear suspension felt a bit soft when flicking quickly through corners. And despite the block pattern on those Pirellis, the grip on offer was astounding. It's sharp enough and fast enough through the corners that you'd start thinking about knee downs. Easily. Clearly, Ducati hasn't skimped on this motorcycle. So the Scrambler is the most affordable motorcycle that we are getting from Bologna, but do not think of it as a motorcycle that has cut corners. Everything on it is well detailed and feels really well built. Take a look. Now this isn't a reskinned Monster 796. It has an all-new trellis frame which is more compact and lower. It has Brembo monoblock calipers. That's superbike stuff. And of course there's ABS. It has new longer stroke upside down forks and a new cast alloy swing arm with a side mounted monoshock. And the chunky Pirelli on-off-road tires are happy to wander. The quality and attention to detail is fantastic. And in the modern vein, did you notice the LED daytime running lights? And there's also a USB port under the seat. The instrument cluster is a neat and compact LCD unit, but it is a bit short on information. In terms of skimping, you could say that only the brake lever is reach adjustable, and that the pass flash switch looks a bit flimsy, but that's it. By and large, this motorcycle is all new and really well done. Okay, I know the 803cc air and oil cooled engine has been carried over from the Monster 796 and 795, but it has been retuned extensively for the Scrambler to make it more usable, and it's also an advantage because it's not liquid cooled, so it's simpler and lighter. Yes, the new retuned engine loses out on top and back, which you expect from Ducatis. But for the record, the Scrambler has been cast as a separate family. But don't worry, you've still got 75 bhp of power from the engine, which is more than enough to keep you engaged. And it creates a great mechanical connect with the rider, so charging out of corners is a lot of fun. Cruising down the highway between 90 and 120 kph, the L-Twin's pulse and its calm nature are just incredibly addictive. But don't worry, you can go much faster. Hitting 160 kph is no problem, but that will bring you to your destination earlier or to the end of the road. So it can handle long trips on the highway, but what's really cool is that the journey doesn't have to stop when the tarmac does. Yes sir, those tires, the compact dimensions, its reasonable weight and low saddle height means that new riders could probably take the Scrambler further than they would ever dare to on entry-level adventure bikes. Incredibly, the suspension can soak up a lot of the rough stuff, but it still does crash every now and then. My worry was for the alloy rims. But if you plan to do this often, you could go for the urban enduro variant of the Scrambler that comes with spoke rims. But even this variant, the Icon, was lots of fun off-road and was game for a bit of trail riding as well. So the Scrambler is impressive, but it has its share of shortcomings, some of which can be crippling. First, we'll talk about where it takes a hit on the comfort front. There are three areas that make the rider's life miserable. First, the seat. It is just too soft. Even short rides in the city will be painful, and after a day in the saddle, you'll scream. Then there's the suspension. At low speeds in the city, it just feels a bit too firm. Third, the seating position on the Icon is too upright. So long stints on the highway with the wind blowing at you will tire you out pretty quickly. But luckily that can easily be fixed by opting for one of the other variants or grabbing a handlebar from the full throttle or the urban enduro. Now this is going to be a big issue for those who have it, the size of the Scrambler. For somebody like me who's 5'6", it's fantastic. But I'm going to call in my colleague now, Arpit, who's almost 6 feet. And as you'll see, the Scrambler is, well, a bit of a squeeze in this case, especially on the lower half where you have slightly aggressive foot pegs and the bike's kind of tight. The next bit of disappointment is with the engine. We weren't expecting hard-hitting performance like other Ducatis, but we were expecting it to be really quite at home in the city. But in Indian traffic, sitting below 2000 RPM, in fact under 2500 RPM, can be a little annoying because you get that L-twin shudder at those speeds. So if you are looking at spending a lot of time in the city, keep that in mind. And you can expect the heat from the rear cylinder to warm your legs on cold nights and toast them on hot days. But I don't think you'll get boiled altogether. Also, its fuel efficiency in the region of 20 kilometers per liter is not bad at all for an 800cc motorcycle. And with its 13.5 liter fuel tank, you'll get decent range as well. So the Scrambler has its shortcomings, and you do wonder whether this jack of all trades is really worth the serious sum of 8 lakh rupees. You could get more exciting bikes for that money. And sure, the Scrambler isn't as fast, sharp or as plush as them, but it wows you nonetheless by opening up what can be done by anyone on just one motorcycle. And because of that, it is a winner in our books.
This week on Autocar Confidential, we are going to talk about manufacturers and how they're going the hybrid way, especially after the diesel ban that's come into effect in Delhi. Now, Honda, they're going to be launching the Accord, a hybrid version of it as well at the Auto Expo 2016. But the big surprise is Nissan, which isn't going to launch the diesel X-Trail, but a hybrid version of it also at the Auto Expo 2016. So clearly a big push towards hybrids from a lot of manufacturers given the uncertainty of diesel in the future.
That's all from the Autocar show for now. But do remember to tune in next week to catch the road test of a lifetime.